Only for the simple reason that I want the synchronicity. I want the weird. Opportunity. I want the unusual thing that caused me to go, huh.
Check one, check.
And the other component, Mike, is it's very emotional. Like, I never felt love like that before. I never felt anything. I don't even have the word to describe it. But as a consequence of that experience, there's a temporality. Like, I'm not that person any longer. Like, that's not me. That used to be. That's a different person. I'm somebody else, right? And so those high arousals where the person moves into those states, there's an upgrade that takes biologically that's sustained for a good period of time.
What does your practice look like?
So I'm a morning person. I've always been a morning person. I have a lot of things that I have to do in one day. My belief is that if I can get myself right, if I can overcome myself at the beginning of the day, everybody else is easy. So I allow for 2 hours every morning. Doesn't mean I necessarily take 2 hours, but I like the morning where everybody's asleep. I'm an early riser. I get in my think box. It's really important. I pace, I move around, I get, okay, I think about the obvious things. Okay, I look at my calendar, I get all that taken care of. Okay, this, that, the other thing, I get all that worked out. And then it is really me sitting down and doing the work. My goal is to be the example, really, of everything that I teach. So I have to lead by example. And I think experience is the greatest professor. So I'm gonna step into, we interface with the world. I have lots of Zoom calls, lots of meetings, lots of things to learn. But really, my morning practice is getting myself ready for my day. How am I going to face unexpected things? How long am I going to emotionally react for if I react? I mean, it's not that you react. Mm-hmm. The question is, how long are you going to keep that going, right?
Got it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So then there's things I'm working on with myself, that I always want to unlearn and relearn.
Is this more? Are you using a meditative practice or a writing practice?
No. The morning, the first part, the think box of just looking at my day is that's the knowns.
That's analytical,
that's the knowns. Mm-hmm. That's just, okay. Mm-hmm. I can go through that very quickly. Then I'll say, okay, when I get done, I'm going to have to read this stuff just to get ready. Yep. Or someone's going to brief me on it and I'll get ready.
Okay.
But then there's Joe Dispenza on the journey, right? Mm-hmm. How do I want to be one day, one lifetime?
Yeah.
Let me just see if I can embody this person. Let me see if I can keep my energy up. Let me see if I can stay in my heart. Let me see if I can really be present and considerate and kind. And then the rest of the day I'm serving. The rest of the day I'm busy, and my ambition is to be able to maintain that modified state of mind and body my entire day. Only for the simple reason that I want the synchronicity. I want the weird opportunity. I want the unusual thing that caused me to go, huh, did I really create that? Am I somehow in the creative process here, instead of being the victim of my life, that person, that circumstance is actually controlling my feelings and thoughts and ultimately my behaviors? That's a program, right? So I want to switch from that mode into being the creator. So I got to get in the state where I can create. And that means sometimes it takes me a little bit longer. And sometimes it takes me like almost an hour to get beyond myself, but I'm not going to get up until I'm that person. And I don't care if I run over. It's just, and in the light of all eternity, that's worth it to me, right? So,
very cool.
So I allow for those 2 hours. Sometimes the whole entire 2 hours I'm inward. And other times I've fallen to the fold, and it's it's like you said, you're there, and you just want to elongate the moment. And you don't do anything except, I always say, memorize this feeling. Dude, memorize this feeling. Memorize it. Bring it up. Keep remembering this feeling. This is who you are, right? So when I open my eyes, and I do that, my day's differently than when I don't. And I like the synchronicities. I like the unknown experiences because it proves to me that I am the creator of my life. At the end of my day, it's always the same question. How'd you do, dude? Like, how did you do today? Like, when'd you fall from grace? What person, what circumstance? When did you lose it? When did you go unconscious? Then, of course, the next question is, new day, tomorrow. How are you going to think different? How are you going to behave differently in that same circumstance? Another shot at it, Joe Dispenza. What would you do? And if I don't know the answer, I'm going to look it up and find out what would somebody somewhere sometime must have faced this. How did they do it? So let me just learn that, and then let me integrate that into my evolution, right? Because what I want to do is I just want to make steady strides in my own evolution, and sometimes I work on things for months, but I know I know that when I change, my life changes. I mean, I know that. Nothing changes in our life until we change, right? So, again, if I could work with it, if it takes me 2 months to get there, it's always worth the effort. So,
what challenges you the most?
My biggest challenge is time. I do a lot of things, and I think it's a commodity. But if I'm in the present moment and I'm not thinking about time, somehow it magically works. So I work a lot on that.
What is your great anxiety?
Am I doing enough?
Yeah.
Yeah, not like in an obsessive way. But one thing that really works well for me, and I'm totally happy with this, is that I just need time alone. And I think that helps me the most.
A couple quick hits.
Yeah.
I am. How do you finish that thought?
Joyful right now.
Relationships are?
Most important thing we have.
My philosophy is?
Live life to its fullest, and that we're the creator of our life.
If you could sit with one master, somebody that's a true master of self or craft, who would it be? And if you only had one question, what would you ask?
Well, I would choose somebody that was enlightened. And then I would ask him, what's my blind spot? That's all I'd want to know.
Mastery is?
I think when you know that you know how to do something, and you can shorten the distance between the thought of what you want and the experience of having it.
That's really cool.
That's my best shot.
That is really cool.
Speaking from my present state of ignorance.
My working philosophy is every day is an opportunity to create a living masterpiece. And each one of those words matters. Opportunity, create a masterpiece. And so when you think about a living masterpiece, what comes to mind for you?
I really like studying people who have near-death experiences. It's just really fascinating to me because when they come back, their brain's completely different, for sure, and their worldview is different. There's nothing greater than being a part of a human being's transformation. There's nothing greater when you can celebrate someone's personal change and transformation. And I think the greatest form of gratitude that we can ever experience is when we receive gratitude from someone else. I think there's an empathy that's innate in us that we kind of go, we feel what that person's feeling when their life has changed, right? Or they're appreciative. And I think our social networks switch on. I think we come together, we commune, we connect more. And I think there's a greater appreciation for life. And so mission-driven people are people who really want to make a difference in people's lives. And I think that's the highest form of motivation. And I think people, we see this in our work all the time. Like, people come for wealth, they come for health, they come for relationships, they come for a mystical experience. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter to me. That's just one experience. Like the people who actually heal themselves, they're not victimized by their disease. That they tell me I would have never changed. Would have never changed unless I had this disease, right? And so then, but what people ultimately come for after they arrive at whatever it is they arrive at is wholeness. They just want wholeness. I mean, imagine being so whole you no longer want. How could you want when you're whole?
Yeah.
And somehow, the self-reported questionnaires that we do around that there's a direct correlation with the heart and the brain, coherence in the heart and the brain, that's synchronization that takes place, and that kind of explanation, like I don't want anything, and I think when we're in that state, everybody's okay.
It's amazing. Cardiac disease is one of the big killers, and for folks that are listening that are struggling with cardiac disease and they've got maybe blockage, they've got a calcification, they've got something going on, would you suggest, because you've talked about the heart a lot, would you suggest a daily meditation practice? If they're not yours, figure it out. Would you suggest a healing imagery where they see the decalcification taking place?
Yeah, I think it's more than that, though. I mean, I think there's 3 types of stress: physical, chemical, and emotional.
Okay.
I think there's 3 types of balance: physical, chemical, and emotional. I work really hard in my life to be physically balanced, chemically balanced, and emotionally balanced. The hard one out of the 3, because 75 to 90% of every person that walks into a health care facility walks in because of psychological and emotional stress. So you could be visualizing all you want, seeing your arteries clear. You could be an emotional basket case, and it's not going to work because the heart in survival and stress is out of balance, right? So there's got to be the right, I believe, me personally, I believe there's got to be a right state that you have to be in to be able to have the visual process be the most effective. Because otherwise, it's trying, it's forcing, it's wishing, it's hoping, it's fighting, it's competing. That's lack. That's like, we cannot attract anything in our life that we feel separate from. So in order for the person to heal their heart has to be open. Their heart has to be activated. That center's got to be awakened. Then the greatest effects that you can see, and we've seen this with people, the greatest effects takes place beyond our comprehension of how that little protrusion disappeared, how did it disappear? It's none of your business. The autonomic nervous system can manufacture chemistry, that's insane. We've proven it. So it's none of your business. All you have to do is, when it happens and how it happens is none of our business, but we got to be in the right state, right? Getting people in the right state is the challenge. Then the rehearsal, the positive imagery, all that stuff has the greatest outcome. But that works better in children, we discovered, than in adults. What works better in adults is for them to change. If I change, my heart should change. If I change, my life should change. And people say, I don't know, 80% of the tumors went away. I wasn't doing anything. I was just doing my meditations. Well, of course, you're in homeostasis. And your body's back in balance because stress is the lack of homeostasis. Some people's goals when they have a diagnosis is not like, I'm going to heal. Their goal is like, I've been out of homeostasis for the last 10 years. My job is to get back into homeostasis. If I get back into homeostasis, there's a better shot of me healing. Now, then with that comes a lot of challenges. Like I said, it's not that you react.
Yeah,
it's how long you react. Really.
You are more of a bottom-up approach versus a top-down.
Yeah.
Right. Create the conditions, create the physiological experience. And one of the conditions is the neurochemistry that happens between people, the community. So you're more of a bottoms-up, but you're not absent of a top-down.
Because a person could say, I'm healthy, I'm wealthy, I'm free, I'm unlimited. And their body's programmed, and their body's saying, no, you're not, you're miserable, dude. That thought never passes the brainstem. So
that affirmation thing is kind of...
Yeah, but get a person
flimsy.
in the right state where they're feeling grateful. Oh, we accept, believe, and surrender to thoughts equal to our emotional state. So the bottom up is important. The top down is the application, is the technique, right?
Yeah,
But
that's
you
correct.
got to set up the conditions, and I think I've done everything wrong. I've made all the wrong turns. I'll try this, I'll try that,
Yeah.
and so I don't do any type of meditation that's traditional. I just look at the data.
Yeah, that's really cool. My vision is
to make a difference in the world, to change people in order to change the world.